Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Choose from 180,000 titles from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Welcome to another episode of Listen to Us Rant About Movies. I'm Wes Ford.
And I'm Zach Harris.
We rant about movies and drink while we do it. We've got a jam-packed episode for you today. It's our annual Halloween special. We'll be ranting about what we've been watching, including some various horror films, as well as The Florida Project and the Meyerowitz stories, followed by our very first Resurrection Rant, a review of 1980's The Changeling. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be a good one, buddy.
Gonna get some Georgie C talk up in here. I'm talking George C. Scott. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. If you like what you hear, remember you can find other episodes of our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Also, please consider giving us a rating on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. They really do help expose us to a wider audience. Tonight, I'm drinking Weyerbacher's Imperial Pumpkin Ale. What are you drinking, Zach?
I am drinking Blue Moon's Harvest Pumpkin Wheat because it is the only pumpkin beer that I could find.
Yeah, so, listeners, what's going on? Is this a rare thing that's going on with Orlando and also Chicago? Because it was both difficult for us to find a pumpkin beer around here. Like, I had to go to a specialty store. No grocery stores are having it. Same for you, right, Zach?
Yeah, it's weird. I was at the grocery store, didn't see any. Went to my usual store, didn't see any.
Yeah.
Another store, all they had was Blue Moon. It's like, what's going on here? This place is
Weird,
gigantic. This is a gigantic liquor store, and this is all you got? Come on.
That's crazy. That is just crazy. Like, I guess the trend's going out or something. But...
Something, because it's like they had all these new beers from like local breweries and stuff, but it's just like, what is it, like not cool to like make a pumpkin one now, or like is it too much to do it like that specific seasonally? Like I don't get it. Like,
yeah, it's really strange. I just remember there being pumpkin beer everywhere last year.
Yeah, it was like an explosion.
Yeah, we did our Halloween episode last year and we had pumpkin beer, and yeah, it's just crazier to find this time. Anyway, let's give it a tip.
Yeah, let's get a sip going.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Mm-hmm. Real good. It's a little stronger.
Nice.
It's kind of like the one we had last year, the Pump King beer that we had last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little stronger, but it's really good. Got a little nutmeg, a little cinnamon in there.
Talking nutmeg in there, bud?
Oh, yeah, buddy. It's good.
Nice.
How's the Blue Moon pumpkin?
It's good, you know? It's nothing like super that I haven't had before, but it's tasty.
Yeah.
It's it's pumpkin beer. It's spiced. It's spiced.
Bring us in the season, dude, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Get us in the mood.
You know it.
Oh, man. Delicious. Well, Zach, why don't you start us off with your watch list?
All right, I haven't had too much time to watch too much stuff here, but I watched Tenebre. That was a long time coming. I've owned this Blu-ray for probably just over a year. Never watched it. And finally got around to that. It's a Dario Argento movie from early 80s sometime, maybe 82. And it's good. Follows a pretty classic, or at least now classic, thing of like author releases book, murders happen, author's a suspect because the murders reflect like what happens in the book he wrote.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's good. It's not Argento's best, but a good time. I would say that the best part about it is the score. Members of Goblin. It's not credited to Goblin, but it's like 3 members of Goblin, including Claudio Simonetti or whatever. So it's pretty killer soundtrack. I would say that was the highlight, but a fun watch,
Nice, very nice. Where'd you watch that? You said you got it on DVD or Blu-ray?
Blu-ray. Had that blue sitting on the shelf for just over a year, I'd say.
You finally got to it.
Yeah, Scott, who's been on the show before, every time we were watching a movie, he'd always be like, dude, you gotta watch Tenebre, maybe we should watch it. And it was like, nah, I gotta watch my own copy, because then I can't justify owning it if I watch your copy.
Oh, of course, exactly, yeah.
Can't justify this past year that I've spent not watching it.
Holding on to it.
Excuse me.
That's funny.
But yeah, solid watch. If you're a fan of Argento, I'd check it out. But if not a great entry point to his stuff, I would say. I also watched Demons 2.
Nice.
Another one that's been sitting on my shelf. Probably just 6 months.
Not as bad.
Not as bad. It was funny. I was getting rid of a bunch of my DVDs a couple months ago. And one of my friends was over, and he was looking through, and he was like, "Oh, how's Demons 2?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Oh, you're just chucking it?" And I was like, "I bought it on Blu-ray," and I realized I had bought it on 2 formats and never watched it.
Never seen it.
Yeah, because I liked Demons 1, and whenever I would get Demons 1, I would just get Demons 2 as well.
Sure.
And just never got around to it. And honestly, I think I liked it more than the first one. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. It's like, have you seen Demons 1? Or 2?
I haven't seen either one, no.
So the first one's basically like demons break out, like a movie that's playing in a movie theater. It's like a big premiere. The movie like summons demons that break out in the movie theater, and it's like a whole crowd of people trapped in a movie theater the whole movie, with the demons busting out. So it's like all in one location, you know. Mm-hmm. So the second one takes it's one of those sequels. It's kind of like a Home Alone 2 type deal where they just like take the idea and just like put it somewhere else and just like make it again, you know?
Yeah.
So this one's in an apartment building, but I felt like that there was more to kind of like play with. Like the first one's a lot more meta because it's the movie within the movie and stuff like that. Right. And they still do that in this one, but it's everyone in their respective apartments watching the same thing on TV, which is kind of fun because then you're like cross-cutting between the people and like seeing what the different apartments are like and the different characters all watching it at the same time. And the demons break out like during a birthday party, which is just a fun idea. But yeah, I just think there's more material to kind of like play with, in that it leans less on the meta angle and more on being able to like cut around a different place in the apartment building and like what's going on over here and what's going on over there, and like the demons breaking out here, but different people not being aware that that's happening, like right above or below them, and stuff like that. And it's fun. It's real.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's real gross. It's very, very gross.
In a bad way?
No, it's like fun gross, but it's effective gross, I'll say. Like when people turn into demons, they're like their teeth grow really big, and like it just pushes out the other teeth, so that these huge fangs grow out, and all the people's teeth are falling out, and like they have like giant like needle fingers that like bust through their fingernails. So there's all these prosthetics of like horrible like sharp nails coming through people's fingernails. It's like, ugh, it's effectively gross.
That's amazing. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's definitely just all about like having fun with it.
Yeah,
they're kind of like mixed bag movies where they just toss in crazy shit, and it just seems like it's just to have fun. So it's like, if something is taking itself really seriously and it does that, it's kind of like, well, that has no purpose being here. But when you can tell they're just having fun with it, like it makes it fun, you know?
Right. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, those were produced by Argento, so similar style, but directed by Lamberto Bava. The young Bava.
Cool. Young Bava.
But yeah, so I got those two, and I also watched Top of the Lake Season 2, the Jane Campion show.
Yeah, I've never seen this show either.
Oh, you got to check it out, bud. It's not necessarily like something for Halloween, but yeah, I just finished it, and it is fantastic. It's got Elizabeth Moss in it. That's awesome. Gwendolyn Christie was in Season 2. She's really good in it. But yeah, it's about Elizabeth Moss as a cop. The first season is in New Zealand, and it's like a whole mystery, and what's his name? Faramir from Lord of the Rings isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
And
Faramir. Amazing.
Faramir and Holly Hunter and stuff. And the first season's really, really good. And the second one just popped up not long ago on Hulu, and I didn't know it was out. And just fucking...
Nicole Kidman, too?
Yeah, she's in season 2. She's great in it. She kind of...
cast.
Yeah, she's not in it as much as I thought she would be, but I think it's only because I'm only aware of it because she's Nicole Kidman. You know what I mean? The casting is just like really bold that I'm like, where's Nicole Kidman this whole time?
Right,
right. But yeah, it's really, really good. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. You gotta check it.
Where are you watching it?
It's on Hulu.
On Hulu, okay.
Do you have Hulu?
Nice. Yeah, I do. I think, well, we go on and off with it.
I gotcha.
We sometimes have, sometimes we don't.
Pop back on it and take a watch, you know?
It's
12 episodes total for both seasons, so it's not super long. Each one's 6.
Very nice.
It's great, though.
There's so much to watch.
I know, man. I know.
It's too much.
But yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's like a murder mystery thing. And
very cool. And it's got a great cast, so that's
great
definitely
cast.
Intriguing.
The score was also really, really cool. Like took me off guard because I didn't really remember it from season 1. Maybe it's just as good, but I was watching the first episode of season 2, like, holy shit, who did the score for this? Real nice. Like,
real nice.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's awesome.
Definitely give it a watch. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had never even heard of it, but yeah, Top of the Lake. Very cool. And
then I watched The Haunting, the old black and white movie, and it's
very nice.
Just a delight. Not much to say about it. Just the what they can do with nothing really being on screen.
Not the one with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson.
No. Not that one. But yeah, it's a great movie. Have you seen this?
No, I've always wanted to check it out.
Oh, you should check it, bud. You got a couple more days to Halloween. Squeeze it in there, you know?
I know, man. I've been squeezing in some horrors, but this is definitely on the list. Gotta check it.
It's awesome. It's just the way that what they can do with not really showing you anything just reminds you that, like, you know, you don't always need to see everything for things to be scary. Like, there's moments that are genuinely scary in it. Which, I mean, for a movie that's like early 60s, does pretty well holding up, you know what I mean?
That's pretty awesome, man. I'm pretty sure it's streaming on Stars, which I've been absorbing everything on Stars because there's so much on there. Yeah,
Stars boy,
dude, there's some good stuff on there.
What's really on? What else we talking?
It's great horror films and stuff.
Nice, man.
It's not part of my watch list, but I'll get to it. I've been watching Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Nice.
I'll talk more about those, but. There's like The Haunting, I think, is on there, and like Cat People's on there. Like we were talking about that. Mm-hmm. There's some really good old kind of like cultic films as well, like cult classics.
Hell yeah,
on there, which is great. But to get to my actual watch list, I started watching Stranger Things 2.
How's that?
I'm digging it. There's only 9 episodes for this one.
Interesting.
I started it last night. I had some friends over. We binged a good amount, and I kept watching today. Mm-hmm. And I was just watching before I came onto the podcast. I've got 3 left, so I haven't finished it. I do like I'm finally at a point where I'm like, this is really good. Like this is I'm excited to see the end of this show. But when it first started, it felt a little rough in the sense. I feel like it's almost suffering from the same curse that like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had, where there's like all this pressure, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Of like the first one blew up so much, like, and became somewhat overrated on how amazing it is, and now there's all this pressure to make this one just as good, you know? So
totally,
it does feel like a little overproduced and feels a little desperate at times. Kind of forcing in some new characters, which end up being great, and that whole kind of thing. But no, I do like where it's going, and I'm still astounded by the performances of these kids.
Yeah, totally.
They're amazing. And especially Will, who didn't really have a big part. He was the one who went missing in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more. He's one of the major characters, and one of the best acting I've ever seen from a child. Like,
nice.
Insane performance. Like, he's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a great career. Yeah, he's putting in some really cool performance. Like, he like, there's moments where he's just extremely terrified or in pain. Mm-hmm. And there's one shot in one of the episodes, I won't tell you the circumstance, but he's in pain at one point, and there's like this really cool pan up shot, kind of like Snakeskin that we had in our short film, kind of like up, and he's like on the ground like shaking. And it kind of reminds, like, he's making this face almost like this John Carpenter-esque face, like you would think of being with makeup, where he's like, but it's just him, and he's so good. It's great.
You should check it, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. Haven't seen much of Eleven in this. I think she's eventually going to meet up with the group, but she's kind of off doing her own thing, trying to figure out her origin stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's some cool moments in here, and I'm liking it. So definitely can't wait to finish it. Nice. That's Stranger Things 2 on Netflix. Also on Netflix, I've been watching Mindhunter.
Oh, nice. I've heard a lot about this.
Yeah, the new David Fincher produced / he directed 4 episodes, the first 2 and the last 2. It's got his classic Fincher look and feel to it, and if you like some of his more crime stuff, like Zodiac, then you'll probably enjoy this. It's nice, but it's very methodical. The very first episode starts off with this great scene, the first 10 minutes, and then it kind of dissolves into being a very boring episode. And I think it's universally recognized as like the worst episode is the first one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you got to get past that. I took like a few days break because I was like, I don't know how I feel about this show, but I kept hearing it was good, and I agree, it does get better. I've watched only 4 episodes, so I'm not that far. 4 out of 10. Mm-hmm. But it is getting better, and it introduces like some really interesting characters. You're like, this is really good. Nice. But it kind of deals with like serial killers, and it's kind of like takes place in the 70s when FBI and police started to make profiles on serial killers. The term serial killer wasn't even a term yet. They started to call it like sequence killer. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes through like the actual police process of like researching these people as serial killers, and like, also the birth of like psychology with that, and like what causes them to be these killers, the actual psychology behind that. So that's really interesting. And it basically follows these 2 FBI agents as they go around the country teaching police forces FBI investigation classes, basically, and while they're doing research on the side on serial killers. So like you get to see like individual serial killers and like different ones, and they have their own stories that they're dealing with. Yeah. So yeah, it does get interesting. Once it gets into like a rhythm, it gets very interesting. So I'm excited to finish that, and it looks great. I mean, just looks great.
Yeah. Nice.
So
yeah, I need to start that one. I need to start it. So many shows cropping up.
I know, man, but it's Fincher. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, that Finchy baby calls my name.
Whew, real good. But to what we were talking about before, I've been watching stuff on Stars, and that leads me to my next topic. I watched Friday the 13th, rewatched it, and I watched for the first time Friday the 13th Part 2. The whole series is on Stars.
Nice.
So I'm going to finish that probably at some point.
Even like Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell?
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch all of them. But to talk about these 2 kind of together, it's just great, man. It's just kind of classic slasher movie. This is great for this time of year, and it's good to revisit this kind of stuff. It's like putting me in a slasher mood for sure. Like I want to watch all these. And they're just, they're real fun. They're silly, but they're real fun. And especially Friday the 13th Part 2 has some really great makeup effects.
Yeah, I remember.
Really cool special effects.
I haven't seen them in a long time, but I remember part 2 being my favorite of them. I really like part 2.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
that's the one where he has the sack, right? He's wearing the sack with like the pitchfork.
He has the sack. Yeah. Real cool, real tasty like kill scenes in that movie.
Oh yeah.
So, and Friday the 13th classic, but I do think Friday the 13th Part 2 improves upon that.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's always nice to see like slasher sequels that are actually like worth making. Yeah. I feel like a lot of them are just obligatory or.
Yeah, and of course all of them like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street. They eventually kind of decline. They all hit that period, and then some of them come back out of that. So
there's usually a gem or two in there sprinkled in the.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple gems in there.
Yeah, like I remember, I really liked New Nightmare, the last Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember that being good.
I've only seen the first one of Nightmare.
Watch 1,
That's 3, another series.
1, 3, and then the last one, and you're good.
Understood. Yeah. But yeah, those are real great. Not much to say other than it's real fun to watch.
Totally.
And I watched Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 as well on Starz. They have the whole Halloween series on there.
Hell yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm going to pause after 3 because I just bought the Blu-ray collection. So I want to watch the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Because Halloween's like my favorite. Mm-hmm. I've seen the first one a billion times. I've seen, I think, some just like a couple random ones that I don't remember, but I do remember I saw H2O.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'd seen like 5 or 6 before, but I don't remember. Yeah. But it was the first time watching Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. Nice. And I don't know why it took me this long to get to these, but I love them. They're fantastic.
They're great.
Halloween 2 is awesome because it just picks up right after Halloween.
Yeah.
Continues right through there, and that's just awesome to see that story continue and just kind of more of the same story there. And it's just great. Great. Good score.
Totally.
And Halloween 3, this is, I think you had said, Zach, and I had read before that it gets a lot of flack because you don't have Michael Myers in it, mm-hmm. and it's completely its own story. But you know what? It's pretty awesome. I liked it a lot.
It's great. It's so much about the holiday, right? It's so Halloween.
Yeah. It's more about like Halloween being like bringing it back to its roots of like being this like evil day,
Yeah, totally.
Where something, just like this evil happens on this particular day, and even deals with like the planets aligning on this particular Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
And it's super campy and it has this great score. And there's some moments that are like very silly, like part where the car backs into the guy and he's just died, he's just dead, but it like slowly taps him and he's just like he just passed goes, out
and then falls down.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff, but it's also just, it's highly entertaining. And if you like campy 80s, especially Halloween, like it's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And you had said on the last cast the opening was just cherry, and I absolutely agree with that.
Those opening credits.
Good. Opening credits are so good.
And the score is incredible. Because it's like, it keeps it in the same realm and it feels Halloween, but it's not like the Halloween theme. But
it kind of plays on it.
Yeah, then they bust out like the B theme at the end when it's getting sinister, when he's like all tied up, and it's like, ooh, I like him bringing this in. It's nice. And then
it finally hits, and it's like, oh, it's the theme. So good.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize before watching it that it would kind of like Halloween the movie was a thing in Halloween 3. Like, I didn't know
it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, like, that's interesting. Like they're like she's forced to watch Halloween. Which is really funny.
Yeah, it just it makes you think about like what could have been if the series went off in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like became different stories.
Yeah, it's just like how many Halloween movies would there be? Like 20? You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool idea to do because I feel like that's a big thing in TV right now. It's like the anthology series of like seasons, but like. a curated anthology film series where it's not, because there's anthology horror, but it's always within a feature. But doing the anthology horror where it's like the same group of people tackling different stories is intriguing.
Definitely. Yeah, so it was kind of cool. It was almost like a fan fiction type of film.
Yeah.
I mean, it even takes that and like it's almost like a love letter to the original Halloween, but also just does its own thing, which is, hey, I love it. Go for it.
And the Silver Shamrock song is amazing.
Yeah, very catchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it a lot. That was Halloween 2 and 3. Like I said, all of them are on Stars, so that's awesome. All right, that'll wrap it up for the watch lists. Let's get into our review of The Florida Project.
Okay, I warned you. One drip and you're out.
Oh, come on!
Out now.
It's gonna melt outside.
It's melting inside, too.
But Bobby...
Out.
Thank you very much.
You're not welcome! The man who lives in here gets arrested a lot. These are the rooms we're not supposed to go in. But let's go anyway. Could you give us some change, please? The doctor said we have asthma and we gotta eat ice cream right away. Here you go.
That was from the trailer of The Florida Project, the new 2017 film by director Sean Baker, known famously for his work on Tangerine, which was what you enjoyed Tangerine, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it
Zach?
was in my top 10 of the year.
It was. I was not as much of a fan of it as you were. I don't know. I definitely respect the film and I liked what it was trying to say, but I don't know, it just didn't quite click for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally understand why you would enjoy it, and I do respect it for the fact of the story it's trying to tell, and it's shot on an iPhone. Very cool.
Yeah.
But that movie got a lot of acclaim, so this one definitely, The Florida Project brought some attention to it from that, right? So, what'd you think of The Florida Project?
I thought it was great. I loved it. I thought it was some of the best performances from children, especially that young, that I've seen in a long time. I thought it looked really good. I think his aesthetic... I know he's made movies before Tangerine, but I haven't seen them. So I was just basing off the aesthetic of Tangerine, just like seeing that style applied to like 35 and natural light and all this stuff. It's just played really nicely. But yeah, I really liked the kind of just like flowing nature of it. It kind of doesn't have like a strong like through line narrative. It's very just character based, which is cool, and like very small segments where it almost feels like almost like a Terrence Malick movie or something, where it's just like little snippets, you know?
It's like vignettes.
Yeah.
Almost.
But yeah, I thought it was great. I liked all the performances. Willem Dafoe is great. The girl who plays the mom is great.
Yeah. That was her very first acting performance.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's super good.
She's nuts. I believe she was discovered on Instagram.
Really?
That's how she got the part, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very crazy. Yeah, I'm with you. I really liked The Florida Project. I thought it was fantastic. It's just really interesting to see someone shed some light on this real world kind of environment, right? Of these people who like live just on the outskirts of Disney World, and these hotels that like feed off these tourists of being this magical place, and these people come here and they have nothing, and they're forced to stay, or they just want to live next to like the happiest place on earth, right? And these people here in the Florida Project are so close to being to Disney, but it is literally over the fence, and they can see it, but they can't get there. And I find that really fascinating to play with. And
totally.
I thought it was shot beautifully. Like, it looks gorgeous. It looks
Totally.
so good. The colors, a lot like Tangerine. He brings in that sun-drenched colors and looks beautiful. And yeah, the kids' performances are just so good. The girl who plays Mooney, I think her Brooklyn Prince, that's her name. Wow, what a talented little girl, right? Like,
Seriously,
so
it's
good.
crazy.
It's amazing. I don't think the movie would be the same without her at all. You know, she really brings that childlike sense of wonder to the whole film. You know, it's really good. And I love Willem Dafoe. Like, not a part he usually does, and he's probably tired of being like typecasted, and he plays this role of this the guy who owns the hotel, this maintenance guy who takes care of the place, but he also overlooks all the people who live there, and almost like a father figure to him. And he's great. He's great.
He's awesome in it.
Yeah, I love that he's in it. And yeah, I like the whole idea of the film. Like I said, being in Orlando, I did recognize parts of it.
Yeah,
there are definitely some locations I noticed. Some of the hotels I had seen before, and the place where they're like at the abandoned housing area.
Yeah,
and, like lighted on fire. We are going to talk spoilers, by the way, of this whole film. Just forgot to mention that earlier. But yeah, they light the building on fire. I've been by there. That's right next to Medieval Times.
Oh, really?
Over in Kissimmee, yeah.
Nice.
So I've been there a couple times. But that is right there, and I was like, oh yeah, that's an abandoned place. I had just like seen it several times.
Yeah,
and so when they were there, I was like, whoa, what a good place to shoot that, you know? Like, that's amazing. Yeah, and also a lot of the places that they shot near the ending, we'll talk about more, obviously. But yeah, overall, I think we both enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. I'm a little over a month removed from it, so I don't remember a ton of specifics. But
yeah, for me, it's been a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Just a delight for that thing, you know, for the vast majority of that thing.
Yes. What do you think about some of like the reveal of the mom?
I thought that was
being what she was.
Yeah, I thought that was great the way that they handled that, because it almost, I mean, you catch on to it like a little late, or at least I did. You know, before they like actually revealed it, I was kind of privy to it, but I liked how it was just repeatedly cutting to her in the bathtub, and you're just like, this is like a weird thing to focus on.
Yeah, but I was just like, oh, she's just bathing, you know, she's a child, she's bathing.
Because it does it, and you go, oh, okay, it's like a scene, whatever, and then it goes on, and you're like, okay, like something about bathing, you know, and then it does it again, and you're like, okay, something's going on here, you know, and then she's like, help me take selfies and all that stuff, and like, I like the way that it kind of like eased you into it instead of just like making it like a, whoa, this is great, you know what I mean?
I love that too. I love that it like slowly eases it into you to where it almost like reveals clues that you just figure it out yourself. Yeah. You know, I was like, and then like when it snaps in your head, you're like, oh, this is pretty dark. That's messed up, you know? Like, totally. It's a really good reveal that it's not forced upon you at all. You just kind of figure out, which is really, really hard to do in a movie, I think.
Totally, because it's a weird structural thing. Because there's not, like, a ton of repetition with the scenes. There's, like, certain things, like, they hang out under those steps. And, like, cuts to that every now and again. But, like, it's almost like a regimented thing where it's kind of, like, out of character for the movie. Because it's kind of just glimpses of all over the place. Yeah. So, it, like, makes you aware of it just by, you know, showing it, like,
just by showing more and more information.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's talk a little bit more about Willem Dafoe. Like, I love his whole part with where that pedophile shows up.
Oh, that scene was incredible.
It's like,
so
whoa.
Good. Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm thirsty. It's like, oh, got a machine over here. He just like shows him.
Like, that was great. He guides him to get the soda, makes him drink it just so he can knock it out. Like, it's like a 5-minute scene of like him getting to the point where he can just like knock the drink out of this guy's hand and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, totally.
So that was really great.
That scene was amazing, and I liked how it it wasn't like it was just like a thing that happened. It's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's like, this is kind of a shady part of town, and it's Florida. There's fucking creepos here. So
yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I like some of because I'm obviously born in Florida, raised here, and just like as a Floridian, it feels very Florida. It feels very Orlando too. Just like the moments of like the birds, like the big tall sandhill cranes that Willem Dafoe is like talking to, like sees at his front door. Like that's very Florida. So I like that it got the spirit of the state too. It was totally. I appreciated that as well.
Yeah, the director was there for Q&A when I saw it, and he was talking about like they did a ton of research on just like talking to people on like what's like weird things about the area that you know, and like what
crazy,
and also like slang and lingo, like going out and like talking to people and like writing down like phrases that they hadn't heard and making sure they like incorporated that into the dialogue and stuff. It's trying to be really authentic with it, which is nice.
That's awesome. Well, they did a great job because it feels very authentic.
Yeah.
The people that are in it, it feels very authentic. So that's just awesome.
Which is a really interesting thing for that director, because I feel like for a lot of people, and even like for me to an extent making stuff, it's like you feel like there's like certain stories that it's just like, that's not like, I can't tell that story. That's not my story. You know what I mean? It's like someone who's experienced that should be telling this. But it's interesting that he can make a movie about like black trans women, and it's like the most empathetic thing, and it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's just like feels so real and authentic, and it's just or like about this Florida housing, you know, like the hidden homeless population. It's just like he doesn't, you know, he's like, I didn't know anything about this until we started this project. Like his producer or something, that one of his work partners was like really interested in it and kind of like showed him it, I guess. And it's just an interesting thing to be able to take like a subculture that you know nothing about, educate yourself on it a ton, and then make like such a perfect representation of it. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
Definitely. Well said. Yeah.
Authentic representation, more so, I guess.
Definitely. It's never exploitive either, which is great. You know, like going to Tangerine, it's just about these people, you know, they're just people, and they're never like, there's no like stereotype to them. They're just these people that live in this environment and in this world, and it feels like it is just a snapshot of what that world is, you know, and that's just an incredible feat to do. I think Sean Baker is a fantastic filmmaker, and I think he's gonna make some good stuff, and he's got a real promising career. So
totally.
Yeah,
so
cool.
should we get into the negatives here real quick?
Yeah, let's talk some negatives. Again, we're going to talk spoilers. This is a very big spoiler, so I would just skip to our next review if you don't want to hear about the ending. But the ending's very controversial. We both have some thoughts on that. So go ahead, Zach. What do you think of the ending?
I just thought it wasn't earned at all. Like, set aside the technical switch of shooting on the phone, like, whatever. It's jarring, but okay. I don't really care. Well,
they shot on the phone because obviously they couldn't get those shots legally.
Oh, well, yeah. No, for sure. Like, it's understandable.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure. It's like, to me, that's not the issue. It's just not feel earned at all. Because, like, it's
almost like the forced happy ending, you know?
Yeah, it's like nowhere in this movie did I ever think that this little girl was dying to go to Disney World. Like, even though they're close,
That's true.
It's like, is it playing on the assumption that every kid wants to go to Disney? Because it's like, I don't know, the girl seemed pretty happy just, like, spitting on cars and, like, hanging out with her mom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't...
Yeah, she was being a kid and having, like, the best summer of her life, and...
Yeah, and
just running wild, and yeah.
To me, it just seemed like an easy fix of, like, I don't know, just, like, write that line in a few times. Just have her, like, be like, can we go to Disney World, please? It's like... They have the passes at one point, you know, like the bracelet things that they steal from that guy. It's like they have the passes to go, and she's aware that they have them, and they sell them, and she doesn't care. So like, why does all of a sudden, why is it important to go to Disney World? I just like don't understand the thought process.
I think to be honest, I think it's kind of supposed to be this metaphorical. Obviously, you know, it's metaphorical, but it's meant to be like it's the happiest place on earth, quote unquote. So. I think it's just a representation of her just going off and like being happy in the end, and just having a happy ending. And I don't, like you said, I don't feel like it's earned because, for one, it comes out of nowhere. And I think if anything, if the whole audience, like my whole audience was like taken aback by that. Like the film ended and we were just in silence. Like, this was great until that ending was like, what just happened? Like, that was just so out of place and it felt very forced and rushed. Like, I would have rather have seen her being taken away by child services and then like her looking back at the hotel or something, like some kind of ending where you see her going away and that's it. Child services shows up and then she runs to her friend and then they just run to Disney World. It's like, obviously they can't get in. That won't happen. They could never do that. Also, as someone who lives here, they run all over Orlando. Like, all the shots to get to Disney World.
Yeah, they're
like,
all over the place, I'm sure.
They're not next to Disney World. So it's just very strange that like the whole movie isn't even like that, The whole film isn't like this metaphorical thing either. It's just like a snapshot, and then there's this weird ending. Like, I don't know. It doesn't fit.
Yeah, I didn't think it fit at all. It just didn't play. Like, nothing about the movie is very like matter of fact and like observational, and just to throw in this weird metaphorical thing, and like, I don't know, maybe it'd be cool if she was like aging or something during it, and then, or she was at Disney World and she's older. I feel like that could have been more effective if it just like jumped into the future or something, but I don't know. It same thing with My Crowd. The director was there too, and I like almost wanted to ask, just like, hey, like, what's with that? Like why?
He
why
was
that?
there, and he probably sensed it from the audience. Like,
because like, everyone was loving it, laughing the whole time. Like, people were like clapping during random parts, and it just ended, and it was silent for a minute, and then it was like the credits came up, and I was like, all right, everyone should probably clap because the director's, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know.
That's just amazing. You were in a Q&A with him.
Yeah, it was weird. It was on a rooftop too. It's like a rooftop screening on a hotel. It was very strange, but
that's
cool.
Weird.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. But yeah, I think we agree on that. Like, that's just felt out of place, and yeah, I wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan of the ending.
It's just such a bummer because, like, going back and thinking about it, it's an incredible movie, and like to leave with that soured when, like an hour and however many minutes of it -2 is incredible. Right. It's just such a bummer to end on that note, because otherwise I would have been like so jacked on it and been like, one of the best movies of the year for sure. Like, I loved it. But...
I agree completely. Yeah. So what would you rate this movie?
4.5 probably.
Nice. I'm on a 4.
Nice.
4 stars. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Definitely one of my favorites this year. But yeah. That ending puts a little sour taste in my mouth. So
definitely.
It takes a hit for that. But speaking of sunshine, you know that we're now partnered with Audible. And for you, the listeners of the Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I have this book on Audible. It's narrated by Will Wheaton, he does a fantastic job narrating this story. And I recommend this audiobook because Steven Spielberg is releasing a film adaptation next year. So if you'd like to check out this book before the movie comes out, now's the time. You can get this book for free right here on Audible. So to download your free audiobook today, all you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/LTURAM.
It's free. It's a free book.
You get a free book and a free 30-day trial.
And a free app, right? The app's free?
Well, you download the app. You download the app. The app is free. You get a free 30-day trial. You can cancel it any time.
You get a free icon on your phone. Think about that.
You get a free icon on your phone. And you get a free book that you can keep forever. A free audiobook forever. Do it. Just do it, all right? So, again, that is audibletrial.com/LTURAM. let's move on to our next review then. Let's
Yeah.
move on to the Meyerowitz stories, starting right now.
The owner of this place is a client. That's why we could get a table so last minute. That's why they gave us this bigger table. I imagine they'll send some complimentary stuff, too.
$55 for a steak
They're known for their meat here.
and $35 for a salmon. You get the salmon to blow you for that price?
Are you Harold Meyerowitz's son, Matthew?
Yes. And this is Danny, also Harold Meyerowitz's son,
I didn't realize he had 2 sons.
and a daughter.
Dad, you'd be okay here?
It'll be nice to spend time with Dad. You know, I didn't get a lot of time with him growing up.
So that was from the trailer of the Meyerowitz stories, new and selected, the new film by Noah Baumbach, now streaming on Netflix, as well as playing in select theaters. And, Zach, what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. I'm not like a huge Adam Sandler fan, but I thought he was fantastic in it. One of his better performances, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Dustin Hoffman in it. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I liked him too.
yeah, I don't know. Everyone was great. I really liked the opening scene a lot, and it's definitely something I can relate with because I am very much a road rage driver, and that was a nice way to bring me in. Like we were gonna do it fully for the last sode, you know, and so I was watching it, and it was late, and it was like, oh man, I gotta watch this movie now. You know, it's like 11 p.m. Gotta throw it on. Like worried that I was gonna fall asleep, and I was just like super engaged the whole time, just like really enjoying it. Yeah, it's great, super funny. Noah's a good boy, you know.
He is a good boy. Yeah, I like this movie too. I did like a lot of the performances. I it makes me so happy that Adam Sandler is finally doing some real acting work. You know,
Yeah, totally.
He's really doing something again and like actually trying.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. So keep doing that, dude. It's awesome. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman is great, and I love the chemistry between Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
As brothers, I thought they were fantastic. And there's just this movie, I feel like unlike his other movies, there's a lot more dialogue being thrown at you. Like it's almost like I want to see it again because there's so much dialogue. Just like they're constantly talking in paragraphs, you know?
Yeah.
So I did find at moments, maybe because I watched it very late too, I did find little moments where I was like, kind of hard to follow what they were saying just because they're speaking so fast. But I just thought, other than that, it was just like fantastically written and performed too. And I kind of like Noah Baumbach's movies because there's somewhat negative views on real life situations, but they also have like this dark comedy to them, you know, like there's there's definitely this like love for humanity in these situations, although you're miserable going through it. And I kind of feel like that's life in a family too, right? Like
Definitely.
This nails the family dynamic of these people. I sometimes I just hate them, but you know what? They're my family, and we love each other, and we'll do anything for each other. And that's like what this movie I feel like represents. So
Totally.
I thought it was great. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite of his movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
I have some other faves, but it definitely feels like a Noah Baumbach film. You know?
Totally. Feels also like he's definitely just continuing down that Woody Allen road. You know what I mean? Just getting
definitely
inching
had some
closer and
real
closer.
real Woody Allen vibes for
Yeah.
sure.
Totally.
I mean, even just like the script of the title, you know, feels very Woody Allen-ish. But yeah, I mean, I think he's improving upon his craft, and to have these like really great performances really enhance the movie.
Yeah. And I thought it looked great. Like the text,
it looks good.
It looks really nice, and I really liked the titles, which I feel like can sometimes in movies, doing the titles like that and breaking things up can be a little pretentious at times. But they do it in a fun way that's good, and I think it works. And yeah, loved the scene with the jacket. where they switch up the jacket.
The jacket scene is amazing.
Yeah, there's all those really wide, like, flat shots of, like, Dustin Hoffman shuffling around. And, like,
it's so good.
That was just a lot of fun. That was one of the standout scenes, I would say.
I agree. Yeah, that was a really good scene. I like how Noah Baumbach films, like, a lot of them, he likes to deal with, like, this, like, sense of intellectualism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like this is almost like a spiritual side piece or sequel to Squid and the Whale. It has like very similar vibes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like about these super intellectual, artistic people trying to like make ends meet, but being broke as artists in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. Because I love the Squid and the Whale.
Totally.
It's one of my favorites by him, and so I felt the very similar vibes, especially like with the father dynamic and such. It was very similar. So I feel like he was playing on that too. But yeah, Ben Stiller was fantastic with Adam Sandler. Supposedly they became really good, closer friends after this movie.
Yeah,
they loved playing in a movie together. So
nice.
That's what I read somewhere.
The scene where Ben Stiller was crying at the end felt
Thanks. Oh, go ahead.
Very honest.
Yes.
That was just like a really good performance.
I was gonna say thanks for reminding me because that was one of my favorite parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt super honest, like one of his best scenes I think in his entire career.
Yeah, totally.
Same for Adam Sandler. He's doing some real acting work that he's never done before.
You can tell that he's like into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, because I feel
he's
like
trying.
I haven't seen some of his newer Netflix things, but it just he seems kind of like checked out. Like even in like stuff like That's My Boy, which I think was funny. It just seems like he's like, I don't know, I'm just like here doing it. Like,
yeah, well, even like his more famous movies that aren't necessarily like really great movies, but they're watchable movies, like Happy Gilmore and such.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a certain character that he does, and there's not like a lot of skill involved in like being that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like but in this, I feel like he actually is like trying to be a different character, and he actually puts on this whole different face that I haven't seen before, and it feels very honest and real.
Yeah.
So
loved him yelling at the cars. Loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, some really good moments in here.
Also, I was a big fan of like the super sexual student films that his daughter made. He like watches it with everyone. He's like, I'll watch this by myself first next time.
Yeah. I'll say I wasn't a big fan of those. I didn't think it was super effective. I don't know. Like I feel like I get what they're going for. You know, like I get like it's supposed to be this crazy films that she's being artistic and you know, they're trying to respect her for being an artist and all that. But I thought like the nudity, sexual parts were just, it's too much. Just make it like avant-garde, you know, just like make it really weird instead of like super sexual. I feel like because they never comment on it, and it's like her dad's just like watching it, like watching her tits and like her things.
I feel like part of it though is that like her dad appreciates it because she's making something unique but doesn't understand it. And I think I think the nudity and stuff plays into that because like I'm sure he wouldn't get naked in an art piece and like show it to his parents that like he just like doesn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get that's what it's trying to say, but I don't know if it worked for me. I feel like it was
worked for
a little.
Me.
I thought it was like a step too much.
Fair enough. I thought it was funny, but
yeah, there were definitely some funny moments, and yeah. But yeah, so glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was great.
I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, nothing really for me. I just thought it was real solid.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess we'll move on then.
Wait, what would you give it?
Oh yeah, of course. I'd give it 4.
I think I'm going 4 as well. It's 34.
Very nice. I think this is a movie that very slightly my respect for the film slightly surpasses my actual enjoyment or likability of the film.
Uh-huh.
And that's not to say I didn't like it. Obviously, I liked it. But I feel like my respect for it kind of exceeds my likeness for it a little bit more. So I give it a 4 because I respect the film, and I like the performances are so good, and the movie is well made. So I lean for a 4 on that. On a likability scale, I wouldn't really like pop this in. Even though it's a 4, I wouldn't be like, I can't wait to watch this again.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I feel like I'll watch it again eventually if like someone hasn't seen it or something, but I don't know.
I probably will too at some point.
In a while,
but...
you know. I feel like I like revisiting his movies. I haven't revisited While We're Young, but I feel like a lot of his other ones I've watched again, and it's been rewarding.
I liked While We're Young, but again, I don't think that was one of my favorites either. I feel like I like this one more than that one, honestly.
Oh, that's why I haven't watched it again.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the lesser of his new era stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But like Francis Ha, I can watch a bunch. I thought that was great. I love that movie.
I have to admit, never seen Francis Ha.
You gotta check it, bud.
Never seen Mistress in America either.
Those two are my favorite of his newer stuff for sure. You should check them out.
Those are like people's favorites. Yeah, I gotta check it out. Cool, man. That's the Meyerowitz stories. That is streaming on Netflix. So let's move into our review. Our very first Resurrection Rant. We'll be talking about 1980's The Changeling, starting right now.
Within this old house live 2 residents. One of them is John Russell, composer, professor. The other has been dead for over 70 years.
Claire, I'd like to talk to you about the house.
Did you die in this house? How did you die?
Whatever it is trying desperately to communicate. What is it in that house, Claire? What is it doing? Why is it trying to reach me?
It's a hand.
I'm John Russell. I'm living in your house. Senator, look, I want to show him that.
You've got something of the senator's. He wants it back.
You want? What do you want from me?
Many films will frighten you, but only a few can really terrify you. The Changeling, an experience beyond total fear.
That was from the trailer of The Changeling. A description from IMDb states, a man staying at a secluded historical mansion finds himself being haunted by the presence of a specter. This movie was directed by Peter Medak? I think it's Medak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stars George C. Scott. It's a good boy.
Well, Georgie C.
For the most part, yeah. So we watched this movie on YouTube. It was free on YouTube, and Zach, you suggested this film, right? Because it comes highly regarded from
our old boy Marty.
Yes, Marty Scorsese.
Yeah, we were just trying to find something that we both hadn't seen, you know. And I was looking down the list of like horror movies, and it was like reigning endorsement from Scorsese. Both of us haven't seen it. I'm thinking this one looks tasty. George C. is in there.
Yep. We definitely wanted to do a horror movie too.
Yeah.
For a Halloween special, you know, and this was a horror movie that we both hadn't seen, so we thought this would be perfect. So, The Changeling. We'll do separate spoilers at the end of this, but for right now, let's start with general thoughts. What do you think, Zach?
I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. I thought I liked how, well, I guess that might be a spoiler. I thought that George C. was super good. Old Georgie, doing it right. Really cool cinematography and cool shots. Like the shots like going really fast, like tracking straight through the hallways and stuff was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I liked those a lot, and I thought there were some really genuinely creepy moments that, and I think the kind of scare factor of this movie can be like taken down just because so many things have been doing this after that, looking back on it, like, and granted, I'm not saying like none of these things had been done before, but it's like I feel like within the past however many years, like movies like The Conjuring and stuff that do a lot of these same things, so maybe it feels less effective, but I don't know why, it really worked for me in this. I think the sound design is cool and creepy, and just like the way that they play with like the staircases and like water turning on and like gradually, and like him being led certain places was really effective. But yeah, I thought it was just like a fun, spooky movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like this movie. It was very enjoyable, very good, spooky film. There were a couple moments where I felt pretty spooked.
Yeah.
And that's saying something, because I never get scared, and this is an older film too. So for it to do that, I think the atmospheric tension, spookiness got to me, and so that was effective. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a kind of like a classic ghost story, but also I think this is probably one of the first, right? And I think it kind of comes from that era of where like it was the height of like this paranormal fascination, right, with ghosts and paranormal of spirits and spiritual mediums being popular at the time, and doing readings and stuff like that. So it feeds into that kind of frenzy, and creates its own story out of that to tell this one particular story from the past. And I thought that was really effective, and I liked where it went. Like it surprised me in the direction that it took me in, you know?
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed the ride. I also liked like you said, the cinematography surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought that was very cool, very effective. Like some of those low angle shots.
Oh yeah,
on his face, of like him like picking up the ball and stuff, and very cool stuff. And just the way the house was haunted and the things that it did to like make him scared. But also, I thought George C. Scott was great on feeding on that stuff. Like he like took it in and tried to understand it. Like he was trying to understand what this house was trying to say more. And like I think more modern horror films are like they're just trying to leave. And this one was like trying to understand from the start. And I liked that too.
Totally. Thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know what else to say without spoiling stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know either. Let's think. I guess we should just get to spoilers, but any final thoughts on it before we go to
good performances, good cinematography, like checking out 80s Seattle. That was nice.
Yeah. Just kind of a good solid flick, you know.
Just a nice watch, really good Halloween watch, you know.
Very good Halloween film. Definitely recommended for Halloween. I love ghost movies, and this is a good ghost film, haunted house / ghost film. So if you like those, the great Halloween watch. It's free on YouTube, so
yeah, check it out.
Recommend it. So let's get into spoilers then.
Yeah. What I was gonna say earlier that might be a little spoilery is, excuse me, I liked how early on you kind of find out like what the murder was. You know what I mean? That because I was kind of expecting that to be, because I feel like the trope now is that
like the last thing.
Yeah, it's like in the last 10 minutes you find that out, but like
Sure.
it was kind of intriguing to have that figured out so early on, because then you go, well, what's going to happen? Like, where does this go from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was nice, because then it kind of opened it up to me. Like, I couldn't really anticipate, like, what was going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of like that it almost became this, like, crime mystery type of film.
Totally.
Where, like, he found out the kid was murdered. The spirit was the kid. Almost halfway through the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, they bring these people in. It's like, oh, so we... And I love how they just accept it. Like, it's just... No one's like, this is fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah, totally.
No one's like, this is insane that there's, like, spirits in this house. They're just like, yep, there's a spirit in the house, and it was murdered, and we're going to figure it out. And they do. Like, they go through this entire process of trying to figure out this, like, mystery. And, like, the second half of the movie is, like, figuring that out. And I thought that was really cool.
Totally. I also thought they had a lot of good, like, almost like joke edits of, like, I think the time jumps and the editing were really cool. Like, the one that comes to mind specifically is, like, the woman who has the well under the house, and her daughter, she's like, I don't know, like, I know you want to tear up this room, but I'll have to think about it. And then it cuts away, and then it cuts back to them, and it's the daughter at night, and the daughter's screaming, and then it just cuts to a chainsaw cutting the floor, you know, like things like that, or like, I liked, it was like no frills in a way, which was kind of refreshing, and just like, all right, well, they're buried in the cemetery, and just like cuts them there, like, all right, there they are, you know what I mean? But it wasn't, I feel like that can be boring sometimes, but it did it in an effective way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I go back to what I was saying. Like, they just accept that, like, ghosts are a thing. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that kind of blows my mind. Like, and I think I was trying to understand, like, why that was, and I think it was because it was that era of paranormal activity, of people trying to understand ghosts at the time, and that frenzy of there were, like, a lot of ghost films coming out, like, from the 70s and 80s, and so I think that was kind of like feeding into it, like, this is accepted, this is real, and so let's do a story with that. So I think that's interesting. But no, I liked that, like, even like you said, him going to the house, he figures out, like, here's these maps, like, he does all this research, and here's these maps, and so there was a well here where the body was probably buried, and now there's a house on top of it. He goes there and convinces the lady to, like, to rip up the well, and, like, sure enough, there's the fucking well. He was right. It's like, I just love how they just, like, play through it like it's nothing, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's just like has access to all these things. Like, it just cuts to him in the room with the guy studying the maps, and it's just like, all right, there we go. Yeah. It's just like, it's kind of fun in that way. It makes the because the stuff's spooky, and then it kind of makes the, like, crime mystery aspect, like, a little more fun in that regard, you know?
Right. And it's not even, like, a negative thing of him. Like, sometimes it bothers me when things just work out for the characters.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But this was totally fine. Like, it worked. It completely worked.
Yeah. Because it's a very, like, straightforward narrative. Very straightforward. You know?
Like, he figures out, he follows the clues and figures it out. Like, it's great. We didn't talk about this in the non-spoilers. I wish I had, but I like that George C. Scott plays a composer.
Yeah,
and like a musician. I didn't know that at all going into it.
I didn't either.
That was just like a cool thing to his character. I didn't realize.
Yeah, and the thing with the music box, I feel like that was one of the first big things that, like, really made him think that, like, maybe something was going on there about the music box time. And that was another thing. Like, he finds a music box, he opens it, and it just cuts, and then it's like the music box timed with the reel to reel. And it's just like, oh, shit. You know?
Yeah, that was cool. Creepy. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And how he just kind of, like, finds that hidden room, you know? I like haunted house movies where they're just, like, so big. Like, if I was in a gigantic old house, like, the first thing I would do is, like, investigate everything. I don't know why it took him so long to,
check
like,
every
go
closet,
up there.
be like, all right, what's
but I'd be
going
like,
on here?
all these rooms, what's in here, you know? Like, I want to know. So, yeah, like, I like he found that, like, hidden room, and he just, like, rips it apart and, like, goes in there. And that's, like, the room where the kid was murdered. And, he finds those clues in there. Yeah, and I like in the story how he just figures it out. He just like finds these clues, figures it out, and like it becomes this big conspiracy of this. Like he switched out a child so he could get all this money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It basically destroys that guy's world. Like he thought he was the actual son of this guy who inherited this fortune, but his son was dying, so he replaced him with another child so he would still have the fortune. Because, long story short, basically, if the kid died, he was sickly. If he died, then he wouldn't get the money.
Yeah.
Before he was like 20. Before he was like age 20 or something.
Yeah.
So he drowns the kid and adopts a new kid, saying he was miraculously healed. And suddenly that kid now has inherited this fortune. But like the part where they find the well, he finds like the bones of the kid, and then like the necklace comes up.
Yeah, like reversed, coming out.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Totally, that was great.
And that like provided the proof for him to show like, hey, you're not legitimate. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Oh, shit.
I would watch again.
Yeah, is this thing out on Blu-ray?
It's a good question.
Pick up that Blu-ray, you know what I mean?
I feel like it's a little. It's a movie that needs some more attention, man.
It is not out on Blu-ray. Let's see if it's out on Blu-ray somewhere else in the world. Take advantage of that region free.
Region free.
There is a Japanese Blu-ray. Only 6,000 yen.
I don't know what that equates to.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not up to snuff on my yen conversion. Bummer.
Do you use a site to find that stuff?
Just
like a particular site?
Blu-ray.com.
Of course.
But on the search bar at the top, you can change the region.
Gotcha.
So just go, just search all.
Cool.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's I really liked it. It was a really good movie, and it was one that I had heard about for a long time and just like never seen for some reason. So I'm glad I got it in.
One thing I'm remembering now too is the scene with the wheelchair was really cool.
Oh, totally, yeah.
They kept showing the wheelchair like at the top of the stairs, and like the whole time I was like, show me a shot of the wheelchair going down the freaking stairs. Like, that's scary.
Totally. Yeah.
Like I wanted it to like go down and then like close up on the chair, like. And it was like the third scene of the chair where it finally like went down. I was like, yes.
Yeah, totally.
That's scary. Like, go down the stairs.
Yeah.
I'm glad it finally did it, because the first couple times I was like, oh, come on. Like,
yeah, do something with the chair.
It's not that hard to do. And it's like, it's moving. Like, have it go down the stairs like the ball. That's terrifying. Also, the scene with the ball. Like, the second time it falls down, you're like,
that was amazing.
It's amazing. It's an amazing, like, feeling when you get to that part. And I'm like, if I was in that house, I'd be like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, super. And I am done.
Like, done. Because that was his ball. Somehow it teleported. Mm-hmm. That's another thing too. Like he talks about to the paranormal people.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yep. Teleportation of physical objects. It's like,
yeah,
this is the thing. They know about this.
Totally.
They just
like,
accept
totally
it.
Like, oh
it
yeah,
happens.
you're experiencing teleportation of objects. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems like a very active paranormal activity in there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great though, and the immediacy of it, because like I feel like a lot of other movies, he would come in, he would sit down and be quiet for a minute, and then he would like hear something and then go back, and then it would happen. But he just like walks in the door, and like before he can even walk to the other room, it like happens again, which was really nice. And I think that's what made it so effective.
For sure.
It's like almost before you even think that something else is gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That was a really good moment. Another thing I want to talk about is when I started to do our little social promotion for this thing, I found a still of that guy walking up the stairs when it's on fire. So when I pulled that still, because I'd obviously never seen the movie, I assumed that was George C. Scott going up the stairs. And then when it played out, I was like waiting for that scene, because I was like waiting for the stairs to be on fire. Like, when is that? It finally comes, and I'm like, oh, here it is. And then he like gets knocked out. I'm like, what? And then
what's going on?
The quote unquote fake son, I guess, the adopted son comes up and he goes up the stairs. I'm like, oh shit, didn't realize, I did not expect that.
Yeah, totally.
So that was kind of a cool moment for me. And there was a weird kind of moment too. Like he goes up the stairs and then he's like back in the room or something.
Yeah.
So, like I'm wondering if like did he actually go there or was he like
I think it was just
going there?
I think it was like a spiritual thing, which I thought was really cool because like you're like, oh whoa, he's here all of a sudden, but then it cuts back and it makes it just like very strange feeling, and also that when he's in his office and the desk is shaking, there's that reflection from the locket like hitting his face like crazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that scene's really cool of like him shaking and like yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
It was a real good movie. Just a solid Halloween watch,
Yeah, solid horror film. Real classic type of... it should be classic. I feel like it should get more attention. And it's just a really effective ghost horror film. And becomes like this crime mystery, which I really like that aspect. And George C. Scott was great in it.
Yeah,
too.
Love him. Love me my Georgie C.
It's honestly an interesting casting because you would not normally see someone his age playing like a lead role for something like that. I feel like,
totally.
He's such like an older person in it, but it worked.
You gotta check out Exorcist 3, man.
I'm dying to see that movie.
You gotta,
especially because he's in it.
Yeah, totally. He's a little older in it. You can tell his age a little bit. Just like him being like, "We must hurry," and just like getting up slowly, like, oh,
Yeah, The Exorcist is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So, definitely gotta check out 3. 2 was not good, but I'll check out 3.
I just went right to 3. I don't know if I need. I don't know if I'll ever go back and watch 2.
I've heard 3 is so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really good.
Oh man, I'm like on a horror kick now.
Yeah, man. Get that Georgie. Just ride that Georgie C wave a little longer. You know what I mean?
George C. Exactly. I'm gonna finish out all these other slasher series. I'm gonna finish Halloween. Finish Friday the 13th. Watch some of these other horror films. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. So what do you rate this one?
I'll give it a 4.
Me too. Another 4 for me. Yeah. It's real solid.
Liked
Good
it a
watch.
lot. Gotta get that.
I would watch again.
Get that Japanese blue. I wonder how that transfer is.
6,000 yen.
Yeah, just a meager 6,000 yen. How much is 6,000?
If anyone wants to let us know how much that is,
I got the converter going. Let's see. Damn, $50. $50. Damn, it's an expensive blue.
It's probably rare.
Yeah. What are you gonna do,
So that'll conclude our episode of this podcast. As always, you can find other episodes of this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. We are all over the place. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can probably find us. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. We recently got a review from someone, which we really appreciate. Thanks to Warren Rogan for your review, your 5-star review. And of course, every rating brings us to more listeners, and it really does help. You can always email us at listentousrantaboutmovies@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, Sean Pierce. And you too can be a producer and supporter of this podcast by visiting our Patreon page. That's right, you can become a monthly patron for as little as $1 a month. Seriously, that is like buying a soda, and
cheaper
really
than some sodas,
Cheaper than some sodas,
Sometimes you get a $2-3 soda,
It's just,
It's 1/3 of a soda. 1/3 of a fancy soda.
All you gotta do is go to www.patreon, that's patreon.com/LTURAM podcast. That's gonna do it for today. Zach, great discussion.
Good chatting,
Happy
bud.
freaking Halloween, buddy.
Happy Halloween, dude. Enjoy the rest of those slashers.
I will indeed. And take care, sir. Until next time.
Until next time.